Welcome back to Do It Myself Garage. Roxy and I here are going to try to fix my neighbor's lawnmower. He tried to fix it with some glue and it didn't work. I have a two-part epoxy. I'm going to try to make up a little plate to cover that hole. It is a hole in the gas tank here. And if that doesn't work, I did order a plastic welder, which will be here in a couple of days. So let's get started on this and see if we can get this thing to seal up. The two-part epoxy I have should work just fine. Alright, I set the mower up here on my freezer, aka workbench. What I did is I used some paint thinner and I got all the, I remembered what happened now. They actually used some tape over this, just taped it. Well, all the tape is all stuck to it. So I wiped all that off of this area. There was a piece that was cracked right here. So I went ahead and just ripped that out, used a razor blade and cut this edge. And then what I did is I found, I've got an old plastic nozzle here from a vacuum. So I'm thinking I can fashion something out of a piece of this. It's about the right thickness of plastic. And that should work, and I'll seal it up. I'm going to try to just glue it into place with epoxy. If that doesn't hold, then I'll use the plastic welding. But I want it to be airtight so it doesn't splash at all. So I might trim up these edges a little bit more to be something that'll be a little easier to match up when I'm cutting the other piece to match it. These jagged edges probably aren't going to work. So let me cut on that a little bit more and get that straightened up. Alright, well, I showed absolutely zero of that. Took a piece of plastic, like I said, cut out a chunk of this old nozzle from a vacuum. Cut out a chunk to match, and now I've got a two-part epoxy on there. And wait for this to dry, and if that makes it airtight, great. If not, I'll have to try some plastic welding when I get my plastic welding set. Alright, so I got back on the floor. It is raining outside, but I still want to start this thing up before I bring it back. And I want to see with the jiggling and everything else if it's going to leak. Looks pretty good to me. I can't find the choke or a primer or anything on this thing. Seriously, I can't find a primer. I got it tipped over on its side. And what does it say? No prime, no choke, ready start, just pull for power. Yeah, that's working great. Alright, so I should have realized this when I tried to start it, that of course with a hole in the gas tank, there would be water in there. So I dumped out the gas, and then took the carburetor apart, cleaned out the bowl. Just super easy, it just pulled right off. I'm sorry I didn't show any of that. But anyway, let me show you, it does start on the first pull like it's supposed to. So I think my neighbor will be very happy. He only sent it over to get that gas tank repaired, and now it runs also because, like I say, it was full of water. So I hope that helps some people out. Just got to troubleshoot. You know, this wasn't that big of a deal. So I did some reading. Let me get the camera back up here. Did a little bit of reading. The 5-minute epoxy, typically those are not fuel proof. The 15-minute, the 1-hour epoxies, the longer ones like this that take the set, they are typically fuel proof. The epoxy I have, I don't even think it's made anymore. I've had it for probably 15 years. As long as it's not mixed, the stuff is fine. It's just a chemical. So anyway, that should hold up just fine. The fuel that's up on the top shouldn't be a problem. So anyway, I hope that encourages some people to try stuff out. I wanted to try the plastic welding on it, but I was a little hesitant because obviously it's fuel. I would have had to get all the fuel out of there, maybe even fill it with water in order to work on it. But I'm glad this epoxy looks like it's going to work. If it starts leaking on them later, I'll fix it. Again, not a big deal. It's just for a neighbor. He wanted a quick fix and didn't want to spend 80 bucks on a new tank, and I don't blame him. So anyway, thanks for following along. Like, subscribe, all that great stuff. I'm so sorry I didn't show much detail. I don't know if you guys know how it is. You get working on a project, the next thing you know, you're like, oh, I probably should have filmed that. But all I did was I just took the bowl off the bottom, got all the water out,
blew it out with a little bit of compressed air, put it back together, and it was a couple of pulls and it started. I gave it a little bit of a prime through the carburetor and she's good to go. So they got the lines all full of fuel and all that. So anyway, take care everybody. Have a great day. We'll see you in the next video.